So this is the Confederate monument in Forsythe Park. It's believed to be the largest in the South. You'll notice, as with all Confederate monuments, the soldier on top standing guard is facing north. And that's something you'll see in all Confederate monuments. A couple of really interesting things about this particular statue. First of all, the man on top, we know who he was. He was Hamilton Branch. He was a young soldier, fought at Manassas, fought through a number of the campaigns of the Army of Northern Virginia, joined the Army of Tennessee, and then fought through all the great campaigns of the Army of Tennessee. His brother, John Branch, this is very typical for a Savannah family. His brother, John Branch, was killed. He was an officer in the 8th Georgia, Oglethorpe Light Infantry. He was killed very early in the Battle of Manassas. His brother actually cradled his older brother's head in his arms while he died, and clipped some locks of his hair, was sent to his mother. Sanford Branch, the middle brother, was captured at Gettysburg a couple of years later, and then he became part of the Immortal 600 that were imprisoned under fire on Morris Island, and he was one of those Immortal 600, and his health never recovered from that. So he was sick from the time he got home after the war. Now Hamilton Branch, the youngest of the brothers, was in fact wounded and shot at least once through the leg. So you think of that statistic: one killed, one sickened for life, one wounded but survived. That's a very typical statistic for a family with 3 serving age children at the time in Savannah. And if you go around the far side of this statue and you have a close-up camera, because he was wearing he's wearing his uniform, you can see the shot hole in the right-hand side of his trousers where the shot hole went through and he was wounded. It's there.
What was it like for these states with all these Confederate wounded coming back? What type of burden was it on the budgets?
It was enormous. There were a number of states after the war where half of the state budget went for prosthetics. Half. So the South was at the time impoverished, and money was tight, and an enormous amount of money went to you had lost a whole generation of manpower, and those that had survived were very often sick or debilitated or crippled, so it represented a huge burden. This level of sacrifice for the South during the war is, I think, and no, I'm sure, is without precedent in America for any other part of the country, anywhere at any time in history, in terms of the damage that they absorbed. I mean, whatever might be said about the war, nobody can ever say that these people weren't willing to fight for what they believe was right, because they fought like hell.